when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up in the place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate.
Introduced to drugs.
I was in a very abusive relationship, and he ended up he broke my nose in 4 places, my cheekbone and my jaw, and I had to get plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery on my face, and I was put on prescription medication. And at the time it was easier, all the doctors were prescribing prescription meds for everything. Like, now it's a lot harder to get put on prescription medication because of the epidemic that's going on. But at the time, that was like their go-to. So I was put on Percocet, and I was actually getting prescribed 2 scripts, one from the plastic surgeon and one from the VA. So I was like double dipping, I guess they call it. And I ended up getting addicted to it. And when I went for one of my checkups, they told me it was for my nose at the time. They told me my nose was healed, and they cut me for my script. And a couple days later, I experienced withdrawal for the first time, which I had no idea what was wrong with me. I started getting really sick, and then I went to the streets and started buying the prescription medication from the street. They prescribed me Klonopin. My benzo addiction came from the Army.
Yeah, my opportunity shot me up in Berlin.
In Berlin? I did opium for the first time over in Iraq. My name's Jennifer Franzosa.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
Nice to meet you too.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
And is that where you grew up?
Yep. I was the only place I've ever been was Hazleton until I left for the military on my 21st birthday.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
I had a pretty normal childhood. My father was actually a police officer. He retired chief of police, so I guess my name was well known in my city, but I used it to my advantage, so I was never I could never really get in trouble, which I guess was a good thing, but somewhat a bad thing too, because I did whatever I wanted and got away with it.
So how was your relationship with your mother and father?
My mom, I guess that's where I get my addiction from. She's an alcoholic, but I guess an alcoholic in denial. She still kept her job and still, was able to, a functioning alcoholic, they say. So I guess that's where, where I picked out I don't do alcohol though, I don't drink, but I picked it up in other ways.
What about your relationship with your dad?
I guess I'm a daddy's girl. I always strive to please him. But I don't know. Me and my dad have a good relationship. Me and my mom, me and her butt heads more.
I hear that.
I have 2 brothers, an older brother and a younger brother. We're all military, except my mom. My dad and both my brothers and me are all military.
So tell me a little bit about your current situation, how you ended up in Kensington.
Well, I've always heard about Kensington. I never came to it, but like I said, I was in the military. I left on my 21st birthday, so I was gone for a while. For 9.5 years, I left Pennsylvania. And then when I came back to Pennsylvania, I was already addicted to opiates at the time, and I would keep hearing about Kensington, but I never went to it. I never came here to get my drugs or anything, but I would send people and they would come back and get it. I knew that it was cheap and I knew it was easy to get, easy to cop drugs. I guess I'd say anywhere between 10 to 15 bags. I used to do like 2 to 3 bags, 4 bags at once. That was when I was when I knew it was opiates. Now, with the fentanyl being so strong, I pretty much only use 1 bag at a time, so.
How do you go about supporting your habit?
I've never, and my psychiatrist always said never say never, because you never know what's going to happen when you're using drugs. But I've never, I guess they call it dating, but I never did any of that for drugs. I always supported my habit my own way. I'm a disabled veteran. I get disability from the VA, but I also, if I have to, I'll either panhandle or boost. So, which is a great way to, but when you have a habit that makes you sick, you gotta do what you gotta do.
How much do you spend daily on drugs?
Well, it's not just me, it's me and my fiance, and he's also a disabled veteran, and between me and him both, I would say anywhere at least $200 a day. So that's a pretty, expensive habit. And that's just on the fentanyl part. If we decide to do anything extra, you know what I mean? Because there's a new drug that is going around that is pretty much taking over Kensington, and I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's methamphetamine.
So tell me, are you concerned with what you're putting in your body?
Absolutely. When I first started doing fentanyl, like I said, I still thought it was opiates, but I noticed myself and my fiance, we were ODing. I mean, like, several times, way more often than we were before. So when I found out it was fentanyl, it made sense because I wasn't ODing like that from the opiates. Now they're cutting it with tranq, which is basically like a tranquilizer that is used on animals to put to sleep, and we're putting it in our body. So you see a lot of people, like you said, slumped over. A lot of people also have an allergic reaction to the tranq, and you'll see them doing like really weird things. Their body moving in weird ways, like making noises, really weird noises. Some of them doing like a weird dance, and you're like, what are they on? But it's this tranq, they call it, or whatever. And honestly, we really don't know what we're putting in our bodies, which kind of makes me nervous too. So they could say they're telling us one thing and it's really not that, it's something else.
How hard is it for you to quit?
It's pretty near impossible. You definitely can't do it on your own. I tried. I'll always get to day 2 or 3 and then I cave and I end up going and going back on the streets and coughing. It's a physical body sickness. It's not just mental, it's physical. And you can maybe make it, if you're lucky, 10 hours, and then after that 10 hours you start to physically get sick to where you're actually throwing up and stuff, and it's worse than the flu. So anyone who ever had the flu knows you're really, really sick. So imagine that times 2, You have the body sweats, the throwing up, going to the bathroom, your anxiety. Anxiety is a huge part of it that bothers me. I want to sleep, but I can't. I'm pacing, and I just can't. I can't sit still, so it's really, really hard to do. Just give it up. You can't.
What's the longest you can go without using fentanyl?
I mean, I had significant sobriety time before. I have went into treatment facilities and with the help from the VA and my support system, my fiance and my family and stuff. I had 11 months before. I have identical twin daughters. They'll be 5 in January, and the entire time I was pregnant with them. And about 6 to 7 months after they were born, be interviewed all over again and restart the whole process. Because of the coronavirus, they weren't restarting patients, and they weren't taking patients in for detox. So me and him went to go get detox because we were done with the streets and we wanted to get help, and they actually would not take us. They weren't taking any patients into the hospital. So here's 2 veterans, 2 addicts who were trying to get help, and we actually were turned away and sent back to the streets, which is pretty disheartening, because it takes a lot to even ask for help, and then you get to that, you're asking for help and you're actually turned away. So I was on Suboxone for a significant time, and it worked for the first year, and then after that, it just wasn't working the way that it used to work. Methadone seemed to work better for me, so.
Do you feel any shame or guilt because of your drug use?
Absolutely. I think that's what every addict probably feels when they get sober. I noticed every time I get sober, the first couple of days, I start to get all my feelings and emotions back, and I'm really emotional. I'll be like watching a commercial on TV and I'll just start crying like I'm pregnant or something, you know? But you've been hiding those emotions for so long with the drug, and now you don't have that drug no more, so they all come, you know, like flying back, and it's crazy. You just start feeling everything at once.
If you can go back in time to when you was younger, what would you say to your younger self before you started using drugs?
Don't pick up. I definitely believe there is a heaven, and I do believe there's a hell. How could there be heaven and not hell, you know? And I believe in reincarnation too, so hopefully I will end up with, you know, my loved ones who passed away.